Bro might have been put in the wrong show. I feel like he'd be really good with a death note. Bro's out here making fake noble phantasms, but the passion is so good it makes him borderline real in execution? Like, imagine looking at someone who went through what he did and be like, why don't you believe in the Lord above? It's like, oh, I don't know how much time you got. So basically, he could still be a threat in the future if he finds something that he believes in that in return goes against what they believe in. She's everywhere! When we talked about wanting a threesome, this isn't what we had in mind. The thing that's really unfortunate about this show is there's a lot of characters, I'd say more than normal, that I hope don't die, and that makes it deeply troubling for me. Yo, he's just hyped up. The child within me loves the concept that you are a cyborg. This is them being dead ass too. There's no manipulation here. They might actually be in love after this scene. The fuck was that? Fucking playing a horror game and they jump scare you there. Cerberus? Hark, what are you doing up there? Can I just say, even in the slowest episode of Fate, any Fate really, but even in Fate Strange Fake, I'd say especially, the episodes are 5 minutes long. I am 100% convinced, because every time the episodes end, or I take a look at the timer on the goddamn screen, I'm like, I think someone got a noble phantasm manipulating my perception of reality and time, because surely it's not that close to being over. And I think it stings extra hard because it's a one core, and I'm like, motherfuckers. Because usually with Faye, it's like, okay, yeah, these episodes be cheating me on my time, but at least there's 20, 21, 24 episodes. Not here, baby. Not here. But you know what? They're making every goddamn second count. And I think my favorite part of this whole fucking episode is Castor. I thought this man was gonna be a lot more, like, generically scummy, and somehow went from like a, oh, interesting character, probably going to be happy when they die most likely, but they'll have some really cool scenes, into me thinking he might be the coolest goddamn character in this series. And this is what I keep bringing back, is that in a cast as good as this, it's very hard to pick a favorite character, and in doing so, it's going to make all of their future deaths all the more heartbreaking. Such a cool fucking character, though. Now, you know what to do. If you got this far in the video, make sure you drop a like, help show your support, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't already. And yes, Patreon, you can catch my full live reactions, all some more. It does help fund the channel and videos just like these, so do consider supporting if you enjoy my work. And I really want to talk about this ability. So, probably going to get some things wrong. That's okay. I am anime only. I may know my fate a bit better than a casual watcher, but I am the farthest thing from getting my PhD in fate lore. My interpretation of this is not that he is creating noble phantasms out of thin air, right? It's rather he's taking existing objects and, almost like an author giving a backstory to a character or a piece of equipment, he's doing that in reality, which similar abilities do exist, but I think how far he's going with his is what makes it such a weird situation, because it shouldn't work. And that's, I guess, where the whole strange fake kind of comes in to say, yeah, but this time it does. Because watching him essentially act like Light Yagami with his death note, but in this beautiful angelic way, I'm like, damn, I'm watching an author cook. Give that passion to George R.R. Martin and maybe we'll finish Game of Thrones, but I digress. And it's so interesting watching, like, almost like the signature go onto the gauntlet and that's it, because this should just be nothing but a fake and a ripoff, but seemingly what he ended up making is going to be incredibly devastating, and that's really cool to me. There's going to be a lot, and I'm sure there's limitations, and there's going to be, you know, Achilles heels that will be exploited, but right now that's super interesting. And honestly, at this point, I just kind of want to see Castor with a death note if he's going to be doing some angelic holy writing like that. That was really fucking cool. Second best part of the episode was easily Flatt. The concept of a kid having to always force a smile, I mean, heartbreaking, right? Child shouldn't have to do that. If the child's sad, child should be allowed to be sad. If the child's happy, then you know they're happy, right? And as arguably one of the biggest waiver, aka Lord El Emilio, the second Glazers, fucking love him. The fact that as soon as he met this kid and he's like, bruh, kids shouldn't fake happiness, boom, snap that out. Because I always thought in present day, Bro was actually happy. Like, I didn't get the impression that he was putting on a fake performance with his enthusiasm. So immediately seeing that at the start of the episode, being like, oh, okay, yeah, so that is genuine. And it only is like that because of, well, his teacher. And I think it makes his, because he's always had enthusiasm for Waver. He seems to have like a lot of respect for him. And this makes me understand why so much, because he was probably the first and potentially only person in his early childhood to treat him like a kid and be like, no, if you're not happy, don't fake that shit. And I think it's just such a great thing, because the main narrative of this episode, I think a core belief of this story, is whether or not you think children should be saved. And half of the cast is going to naturally be like, if I can save a kid, I want to save a kid. And the other half is like, if a kid dies, so be it. And I think that really is going to draw a line down the cast of which way things fall. It's funny because as Bro's servant is literally Jack the Ripper. And based on the conversation near the end of this episode, Jack's pretty much being like, you know, I'm influenced off of you, so your desire to save children, yeah, let's do that, boss. And I'm probably just forgetting. And it is true that often the servants and the masters, they influence each other. I mean, Waver was heavily influenced off of his servant in Fate Zero. But at the end of the day, you just know that if you give Jack the Ripper to a more insane character, Jack the Ripper's gonna be fucking insane. But here, Jack the Ripper's pretty wholesome, at least so far. I'm not saying he's not gonna be violent when he needs to, but overall, a lot more peaceful than you would expect Jack the Ripper from probably your natural assumption of who Jack the Ripper is from our own mythologies and stories and the like, right? Just really freaking cool. And I mean, seriously, like, if we gave Jack the Ripper to him, what do you think would happen? I am quite interested in his story, because the only one apparently in his entire life who has ever told him to basically do something good is Assassin. She pretty much was like, hey, you know, I can tell you literally don't believe in anything, so I'm no longer that suspicious of you, but I hope whenever you do believe in something, like, it's gonna be good. And that's such a different mindset than someone like Francesca or anyone would ever say. So many small stories that, like, I could easily see myself completely rooting for, but a lot of them are probably gonna break my heart, I assume. Now, here's the thing. Fate doesn't have to end in nothing but death. Waver didn't win no Holy Grail War, but he survived. But I think my favorite, like, little gimmick of the episode was this. The concept of being like, bruh, you're a cyborg. That's cool as hell. You got an armored drill in that hand. He's like, ooh, can't tell you that, but here, let me tell you 90% of my secrets. Like, the thing about this is essentially a servant giving up their true name. And for those newer to Fate, the reason you don't want to give up your true name as a servant is it gives away potential strengths and weakness to your opponents. That's why giving out said true name is only once they fully trust their master and whoever else really needs to know. The fact that a church and a goddamn master bonded because they're chewed out of their mind is the most glorious fucking thing. And you know what? Sometimes when I see the very cutesy ending songs and shit for this show, I think it doesn't really fit. And then you see moments like these, you're like, they absolutely fit. That's fucking amazing, man. Fate is on a roll. I've heard nothing but apparently that from here on out, we are not ready. And to be honest, it does feel like the remaining stretch of Strange Fake is just going to be balls to the walls insane. Time will tell, but this was a great fucking episode. You let me know your feelings down below. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell, and yes, Patreon. Catch my full live reactions over there. It does help fund the channel, so I love to give those video shout outs to my patrons, because without them, you wouldn't get these YouTube videos at all. So today we got One Piece Man, Nicholas Wilhelm, Hermes, Francis Mondra, Neko Chibi, Miguel Frances, Arne Bala, and we also have Kim Andre Olsen. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.